File 23-7B, Castleberg Werfenstein, Struden, St. Nicola an der Donau, Austria, December 25th, 1907. The Order of the New Templars convened tonight. Symbols were raised over the Danube, swastika and fleur-de-lis. Objectives: the creation of the new man. Result: success. This transmission is not for public release.
My name is Ray Ronan. I'm an author of speculative thrillers. Stories that walk the line between what happened, what might have happened, and what perhaps still is. This podcast, In Plain Shadow, is where I step outside the page and into the world with you. We'll explore the forces hidden in plain shadow, both real and perhaps imagined. The truths wrapped in myth, the myths tangled in history, and the echoes we still feel today. We'll walk from castles above the Danube, where swastikas first flew well before World War II, to British archives where women were arrested for sorcery during World War II, from secret societies chasing relics like the Spear of Destiny, to Cold War projects and psi warfare, perhaps still carried out today, and remote viewing, from the moment UFOs became UAPs, to the question of why. More and more people today seem to carry hints of psi ability, and yes, into the future where AI human experimentation and conspiracies collide. I'll bring you stories from my books, the Historian series, To Die For, which is already published, the Resonance series, and the new Derek Darquin series, which is underway. Sometimes you'll hear dramatised dossiers or voices of the dead and the fictional. Sometimes we'll open contemporary files or talk to guests who carry their own knowledge of the shadows. If you've ever felt there's more to the story than we are told, you're in the right place. This is only the beginning. So let's begin where so many shadows first gathered, at a castle above the Danube in the year 1907. Jörg Lanz von Liebenfels was an ex-Cistercian monk and occultist, the man who in 1907 raised a swastika above his castle and called for the birth of what he called the new man. Now, to the world he was a crank in robes. To his followers he was a prophet. At Werfenstein Castle he created the Order of the New Templars, a cult mixing Christianity, pagan symbols and racial mysticism. The swastika, later infamous, first flew there. The fleur-de-lis beside it, a strange marriage of purity and power, on a flag above the castle. His writing spoke of breeding programs, eugenics, and the purging of the unfit. Well, history remembers Hitler. Here on the Danube, the shadows stirred long before the Reich was born. Werfenstein itself was no fortress of power by then. It was a ruin, abandoned for centuries, perched on a cliff above the Danube. Lanz cleared rooms, made them livable, and draped its towers with banners. The first swastika to fly in Europe was raised not by Hitler, but here in 1907. Only a short distance away in the monastery at Lambach, a young Adolf Hitler sang as a choir boy. Above the gateway, carved in stone centuries before, was the same symbol, the swastika. Symbols live in stone. They linger in the mind of a child. Years later, Hitler would write, "The new man is among us. He is here, fearless and formidable. I shrank from him." Lanz had called for this new man, what he described as the supreme adept, a being summoned through purity and ritual. Was it fantasy, delusion, or something darker? That question is not answered in the archives. It's the question the Historian trilogy dares to ask. But what would Nietzsche have to say about the new man?
Man is something to be overcome, so I wrote, but overcome into what? Say whisper now of a new man, supreme, inevitable, yet what I see is only shadow. Is he prophet or phantom, a mistake or destiny? Perhaps he has always been here, waiting in plain shadow.
Nietzsche died in 1900, before Werfenstein, before the Reich, but in plain shadow the dead still speak. and they warn us. Chapter 2 from the first book in the Historian trilogy takes place in Castleburg-Werfenstein, Struden, St. Nicola an der Donau, Austria, on the 25th of December 1907. The harried figure shuffles as fast as his sandals will carry him across the bitterly cold slabs of ancient stone towards the hammering. It grows more urgent the closer he draws to it. The timber of the castle doors are frosted, its iron retaining bar bites at his fingers. He curses, heaves the retaining wooden beam, and releases the colossal door. It blows inward with force, striking his shoulder, and his yellow pane is drowned amid a howl of snow and bitter air, and his white linen robe offering little protection. A figure stumbles inward, caught by a cursing Schönhoff. The man pulls himself up straight, eyes wide. "You are late, Klaus," Schönhoff shouts. "Help me close this." "The storm kept me," the newcomer shouts back, then throws himself into assisting with the door. They heave, Schönhoff tipping the wooden bar down the moment the portal is in place. It hits with a bone-shattering thud that echoes off the stones of the dark halls. He glances up at the staircase toward the forbidding upper floor, before looking back to the door and the world beyond calling him to leave, to have no part in this. But he knows it's too late. He is committed. Klaus shivers, then shakes his frozen cape, sending snow into the keep stone floor, where it remains in that state in the bitter cold. He can hear faint chanting, and looks up to the tall Schönhoff. "Dear God in heaven, you started the orations? Have I missed the arrival? Change and be quick. You don't look well, Schönhoff. Nothing is well with this foolishness. Von Liebenfels may live to regret this. We all may." Klaus removes his cape, his eyes giving away a little. But Schönhoff sees through him. "You're as foolish as I, and you should not have come." He leans closer. "The man is obsessed." That man is Lanz von Liebenfels, the leader of the Alliance and owner of the castle. He only continues to attend these intense rituals to give some support to Lanz, a man he once suspected as a friend and colleague who's but clearly lost his way. Yes, Klaus rubs his hands together. "The new man. Did it work? Is he here?" The new man. This idiot's juvenile excitement irritates, but also brings his doubts to the fore. Who has he aligned himself with? A cohort of gullible zealots? Before tonight, Schönhoff had been merely sceptical. But now, "We may be of our own undoing. We should not have come here. Better for us. Better for humanity." He gives Klaus a final glare before pulling up his hood, the oversized white garment flowing as he spins about on his heel. "I would not linger out here alone," he says over his shoulder. "But is he?" Schönhoff doesn't want to answer. To do so would to admit belief. He turns away towards the gathering, torn between a fear of the shadows about him and a growing dread of what lies ahead. He hurries along the corridor leading to the ballroom. He sweeps under wall-mounted gas lamps, their pale light marking his progress. Darkness amasses behind him, following his sandals slap the stone slabs. He pauses at the entrance, taking in the glow of the fire, the timber floors, and the radiant circle of pillar candles towering above. He approaches the self-appointed knights as they stand within the wavering flames that seem to move to the rhythm of their haunting mantra. The light draws his focus from the deathly black of the high-vaulted ceiling and the darker recesses of the aged, but still audacious and grand ballroom. It was grand until von Liebenfels had stripped it bare, with shivers birthing goosebumps across his neck and shoulders, and sudden regret at his voice, scorn to Klaus gnawing at his gut. He joins the group of men and women who stand focused on a painting crest on the floor. The emblem mirrors the new flag, raised the day before with great ceremony atop the castle's tower. He admits this has been an awe-inspiring, igniting the nationalistic fervour in him as the commanding pendant flutters to life above them. Von Liebenfels preaches how true Aryans possess untapped natural powers, which are being diminished by the introduction of foreign lineage. He vows to halt this tainting, to eliminate the poisonous races, and breed pure bloods in their place. Then he speaks of a way forward, a path they could expose. Schönhoff is a fervent believer in the movement's aims because, if successful, there'll be profit in it. Revolution always brings profit for the smart, the chosen. But this spiritual stuff, surely this black magic business is just a distraction. When von Liebenfels first tells them this is a new beginning and we redirect history, and now is the time to incite the supreme adept who will help return the Aryan race to its full potential and purity, its rightful place, Schönhoff scoffed. The supreme adept, what rubbish. The new man, they announce, will alter everything. They adorn the castle with the bizarre runes from the Far East, invoking what they call adepts and spirits. He's angered and frustrated at this insane direction. It's a waste of time, and he considered leaving the alliance. Yet now, their fever, their energy draws him despite his scorn. From the corner of his eye, he watches Klaus slip into the circle. The normally petulant von Liebenfels continues the mantra without faltering. This is a new incantation, one unknown to him. Where did von Liebenfels find this drivel? His mind stops its meandering as movements above catches his attention. He can't believe what his eyes are telling him. Surely it's a trick of the candlelight. The shadows in the vaulted ceiling above appear to be moving, as though fluid. The hairs rise on the back of his neck, and a gasp emanates from the gathering, as they realise it is not a trick of the flickering candlelight, but a purposeful slither of darkness among the eaves. For lack of knowing what else he should do, he lowers his gaze and echoes the chant. An icy draught prickles his skin, and he pulls the hood closer around his head. Something is sucking the life heat from his bones, and the chanting increases in pace, and he realises he's been holding his breath. He sucks in air, sheer terror tensing his jaw and freezing it in place. There will be no more chanting from him. He looks over to von Liebenfels, who locks eyes with him, his face imperious as he mutters the words he believes will tease out the spirits he beckons. Yes, he will call on the supreme adept, he says, the one who will lead them in their quest, and tonight they will draw him to them. Schönhoff wishes with all his might that it is all a joke. Foolishness! Yet von Liebenfels' eyes suddenly blaze with triumph as he stares at Schönhoff and mouths, "The new man, he is here." And then his head tilts backwards, his face toward the ceiling. They all now stare up in horrified wonder. A towering gloom congeals above them like a thick liquid flowing from the castle walls. A primeval instinct in the back of his mind, every fibre of his being tells him they have made a catastrophic error. He feels deathly cold, the true mother of the winter winds. The chanting reduces to a whisper. Light and dark reverse, polarising his world and turning it inside out. The candles are now points of pure blackness, sucking light instead of emitting it. The room spins as his legs give out, and the floor rises to meet him. He doesn't feel his face strike the timber board. Lanz von Liebenfels never commanded an army. He never held a seat in parliament, and to most of his contemporaries he was a curiosity, a failed monk in a crumbling ruin. But ideas do not need armies. They only need time. His journal, Ostara, carried his vision of the new man across Austria and Germany. He wrote of purity, breeding, and mystical destiny. And his readers? Young men, restless, disillusioned, searching for meaning after the collapse of an empire and a disastrous war. One that had plunged their country into absolute ruin. Among them was a boy from Linz, too poor for university, too proud for obscurity, a boy who read, who remembered, who listened to symbols more than sermons. Decades later, when Adolf Hitler spoke of destiny, of purity, of a new man, the echo was unmistakable. And Lanz was not alone. Across Vienna and Munich, occult lodges and secret societies flourished. They traded in mysticism, runes, and visions of a racially chosen people. The Thule Society, born in Munich, would drink from the same poisoned well, and by 1919, Thule members would help shape the German Workers' Party, the seed that grew into the Nazi Party. Hitler always distanced himself in public. He called occultists fools, Fools, but shadows do not need acknowledgement to influence. A symbol seen in childhood, a journal read in youth, an idea whispered in secret, these linger. And always behind it all, the figure of the new man. Who was he? A metaphor? A symbol of racial destiny? Or, again, something darker? Something between the shadows. Lanz called him the Supreme Adept. He claimed ritual could bring him forth, and Hitler, years later, claimed to have seen him. The new man is among us. He is here, fearless and formidable. I shrank from him. Who or what had they summoned? From the ruin above the Danube to the ruins of Berlin, the idea of the new man cast its shadow. A monk in a crumbling castle, a choir boy beneath swastikas carved in stone, a Reich that rose and fell in fire. But this story does not end with Lanz, and it does not end in 1945. This season, in Plain Shadow, we will follow the strange currents that flowed into and through the Reich, and you'll meet Erich Jan Hanussen, the clairvoyant who became Hitler's magician and paid for it with his life. We will hear the poetry of Dietrich Eckart, whose verses helped shape the myth of destiny around the Fuhrer. We'll open the files of the Annan Arba, the SS Institute that mixed archaeology, folklore and the occult, sending expeditions to Tibet and beyond. We'll learn about the Spear of Destiny, and why was it the first thing that Hitler did when he annexed Austria was to have the Spear of Destiny taken and shipped to Nuremberg. And then Dresden, February 1945, before the bombs fell, the city was alive with rumours. Ghostly apparitions in the Elbe, lights in the sky, premonitions whispered among survivors. Some said the dead were already walking before the firestorm claimed the living. These are the stories you will hear this season. History, myth and shadow. Fragments that still haunt us. This is In Plain Shadow. Until next time, question everything.